Welcome to Ink-Stained Confessions, where the truth is messy, the love is complicated, and nothing's off limits. Part 2. The house didn't have a number so much as a pulse. Low bass thumped from somewhere inside, like a slow, steady heart. The driveway was discreet, the door barely marked, and the sky over Houston sat heavy and warm, as if it knew what was about to happen and agreed to keep it quiet. Talia squeezed Riley's fingers once before she pressed the bell. "Breathe," she whispered, smiling like trouble dressed in lip gloss. Bria was already grinning, that reckless, glimmering grin that said she'd find a boundary just to see if it would move. "House rules," she murmured, reading the placard again, though she didn't need to. "Ask, don't assume. No phones. Take care of your body. Consent is hot." They slid wrists into soft bands, green for open to conversation, yellow for ask before touching, a neat, simple code. Riley's fingers hovered over the colors for a beat. She picked yellow. It felt honest, curious, cautious, ready to learn. Bria drifted first. Talia hung back just long enough to bump Riley's shoulder. "We stay together till you're sure." "I'm sure," Riley said, though her heartbeat ticked fast at her throat. "I'm watching." Talia grinned. "That's your superpower." She always watched crowds, rooms, arguments that hadn't started yet. She watched the space between a question and an answer, the split second where truth made itself known. Here, watching felt holy, not like peeking, like paying attention, like stepping close enough to hear the story a body was telling. Talia slid off toward a side room when someone caught her eye. Bria disappeared into the soft golden dark with two people who smiled like they'd been saving a chair for her. Riley sank into the couch, let her shoulders drop, let her breath find the beat. Her palms warmed, her mouth parted without meaning to, just a little. Across the room, a pair who'd been half hidden behind a gauzy panel shifted so she could see them, and so they could see her. They weren't posed. They felt like a living, breathing yes, her in a low black slip that clung and drifted at once, him with rolled sleeves and forearms that looked like they knew the weight of care. The woman's gaze found Riley first, calm, direct, not hunting so much as inviting. The man's eyes followed, a question tucked into the corner of his mouth. Riley held that look. Not a challenge, a tether. Something hummed under her tongue. The woman leaned in to say something to her partner, the silhouette of her mouth curving like a secret. Then she turned toward Riley again and lifted her chin, the smallest gesture, "Are you watching?" that felt like an open door. Riley nodded, slow. They didn't pounce. They performed their patience like a gift. The woman tipped her head back and let his mouth find the soft line of her throat. A sound slipped from her, quiet, tender, the kind of note that makes your chest ache. His hands smoothed the sides of her, respectful, hungry, careful enough to make the hunger louder. When her breath hitched, she didn't hide it. She let it bloom, let it be heard. Riley felt it like a warm palm pressed to the inside of her wrist. The woman's eyes flicked back to Riley through the veil, half-lidded. She bit her lip, soft, barely there, and smiled like she approved of the way Riley was watching. Heat unfurled behind Riley's ribs. The couch felt too soft. The air felt like it had fingers. She shifted, crossed and uncrossed her legs, then stilled when the woman reached back without looking and guided her partner's hand lower, a silent yes that was anything but shy. Riley's breath stuttered. The woman laughed once, low, delighted, when his pace changed. There, don't rush, please." The please shook the lamplight. Riley swallowed, throat dry. Her own pleas sat heavy behind her teeth. The woman stood. The floor bit cool through her bare soles. The base found the hinge of her hips. She slid a palm along the curtain, parted it with a breath, and stepped into the warm amber halo with them. Up close, the woman smelled like something citrus pressed under a summer sun. The man smelled like clean skin and maybe cedar. Or maybe Riley wanted it to be cedar because the room felt like a forest with all the heat of a southern night. "Hi," the woman said, voice soft but not shy. "I'm Alana." "Riley," she answered, her own voice thinner than she meant. "I like that. You can watch as close as you want. You can touch if you ask. You can say no to anything, even if you already said yes." The man nodded, steady. "I'm Malik. Same rules." The names landed like anchors, solid, simple, exactly enough. "Okay," Riley breathed. "I'm Riley." "Where do you want to be?" Alana asked. Not what do you want. Where? A question with place built into it. Riley's eyes dropped to Alana's mouth, soft, open, glinting with a little gloss gone smudged. The answer surprised her by being easy. "Here," she said, touching her own lips, embarrassment flushing and then receding when Alana's eyes warmed. "Ask me," Alana said, inching closer until Riley could feel the whisper of heat. "Can I kiss you?" Riley asked, the words catching and then clearing. "Please." "Yes," Alana said, like a sigh she'd been saving for that exact moment. The kiss wasn't hurried. Alana tasted faintly sweet, like citrus and something darker. Her mouth asked and answered in the same motion. Riley's hands hovered, then settled at Alana's waist, thumbs memorizing the curve there. Malix's presence brushed the edge of the kiss like a baseline, a palm to Alana's shoulder, a breath at her ear, a murmur Riley couldn't catch but felt anyway, because Alana shivered and leaned even more into Riley's mouth. Alana's moan was small at first, and then not small. It opened. Riley swallowed it and returned something of her own, a sound she hadn't heard from herself before, soft and wanting and unafraid to be heard. "Good," Malik whispered, as if to both of them. "That's good." He moved behind Alana, hands mapping the landscape of her, respectful and sure. Riley broke the kiss only because Alana turned her head to catch Malik's mouth, and the three of them became a triangle made of breath. Alana in the center, pivoting between them, receiving, offering, asking with every shift. "Touch me," Alana said to Riley, voice a little wrecked, gaze steady. "Ask, and then touch." Riley's cheeks burned. "Can I?" She gestured, open hand, palm up, toward the soft line where Alana's slip met her thigh. "Yes," Alana said, and the word sounded like a door clicking open. "There, slow." Riley's fingers slid higher along silk and skin, heat finding heat. Alana's knees softened. Malik's hand steadied her hip, and Alana reached back to squeeze his wrist in thanks, like they had a shorthand for gratitude that lived in their hands. Alana exhaled. There." When Alana's hand found Riley's wrist, she didn't push away. She guided. "Like this," she breathed, and Riley followed, and the little sound Alana made in response threaded itself through Riley's bones. "Beautiful," Malik said, voice deeper now. "You're beautiful like this." Riley didn't know if he meant Alana or her or both. She didn't need to know. The music slowed like syrup, and time joined it, stretching soft and long. "Can I touch you?" Malik asked Riley, the question landing low, not to startle. Riley looked up. He waited like he had all night. "Yes," she said, then swallowed, surprised again by the certainty. "Here." She lifted his hand and placed it on the safe, open plane of her waist. His palm was warm, heavy in a way that made her feel held rather than pinned. He didn't move until she nudged his fingers lower, a little, then paused, checking her face. Good? He asked. She nodded, breath snared, and then freed. Good. The three of them found a rhythm that didn't belong to the song so much as to the room they made between their bodies. Alana turned, eyes on Riley again, and kissed her with a kind of greedy tenderness that made Riley's knees unfaithful. Malik's mouth found Alana's shoulder. His breath raised a path of goosebumps. Alana arched like a wave, cresting and breaking, sound spilling from her in a cadence Riley felt in her own spine. Yes, Alana murmured, not to either of them, but to the moment itself. There were other sounds in the house, low laughs, someone's soft plea 2 rooms away, the wet percussion of kisses that didn't care what they looked like. But here, everything narrowed to Alana's voice, Malik's patience, Riley's hands learning a new alphabet with every small, careful stroke. When it happened, when Alana trembled all the way through and then again, when her yes turned into a long, breathy oh, Riley didn't need anybody to tell her. She felt it like someone had plucked a string that ran from Alana's throat to Riley's belly. The sound went through her. She answered with a raw little noise of her own, surprised out of apologizing for it, because Malik's eyes found hers over Alana's shoulder, and he nodded like, yes, take that. That's yours too. The aftermath was not silence, but softness. Alana leaned into Riley's neck, laughter leaking out in the small, unguarded way that always follows relief. Malik kissed the slope, where shoulder becomes back. A grateful kiss. A proud kiss. We're careful with each other kiss. It felt like a blessing to be close enough to see it. Your turn? Alana whispered, voice husky at the edges, mouth moving against Riley's skin. Riley's answer was shaky. It's okay if no, Malik said immediately, warmly. We're good. You don't owe anything. Riley exhaled, the breath a tremor. She looked at Alana. Alana looked back, eyes soft, not pressing. The freedom in that made Riley ache. Yes, Riley breathed. Yes, please. They guided her, not like they were teaching, but like they were listening and lifting her towards something she already knew. Alana's mouth was everywhere at once, it seemed. Cheek, jaw, the place behind her ear that made her breath crack. Malik's hands stayed visible, visible, visible. Every time they shifted, he asked with his eyes. And Riley nodded or shook her head or caught his wrist and placed him where she wanted him, surprising herself with how sure that gesture felt. Good girl, Alana murmured, and Riley made a sound that lived somewhere between a moan and a laugh, embarrassed and turned on by the embarrassment itself. Look at me. Riley did. She let herself be seen, let her mouth fall open. Let the yes get louder because trying to quiet it felt like the old her, and the old her didn't get to live here. The build wasn't gradual, it was tidal. It rose and then rose again, then stepped back just enough to make her chase, then crashed so completely she forgot that anything had ever been complicated. She clutched Alana's slip and Malik's forearm like life preservers and let the sound tear through her. Messy, honest, urgent, hers. Riley, Alana whispered, fiercer now. Take it, take it. She did. After, she folded. Not in shame, never that. In relief, in the kind of relief that makes you want to cry a little and doesn't apologize when you don't. Alana smoothed a hand down her spine, slow and reverent. Malik pressed his forehead to the back of Alana's shoulder, and the three of them breathed together until breath returned to being a thing you don't have to remember to do. Water? Malik asked, practical and tender, reaching for a bottle with one hand while the other kept contact like an anchor. Riley nodded, laughing a little when the cap clicked. Thank you, she croaked, the word raspy and perfect. Thank you, Alana echoed, and she meant it. And the gratitude hit Riley in the chest because it made this feel like something given, not taken. Somewhere beyond the veil, a laugh carried. Bria, probably, unmistakable and bright. Talia's voice floated after it, teasing and pleased. The house breathed around them, patient as the tide. Riley sipped. The water tasted cold and right. Malik brushed a knuckle along the back of Riley's hand. Permission to leave it there if she wanted. She did. You're a beautiful watcher, Alana said, smile turning crooked. And you're even more beautiful when you let yourself be seen. Riley swallowed. The truth of it stung the best way. I needed that, she admitted, the confession landing between them like a small, shining thing. Good, Malik said simply. Then we did it right. They didn't make promises, no numbers, no whispers about next time. Just a soft, mutual squeeze, the kind that says we were good to each other tonight. Alana kissed Riley's cheek, quick, warm, and Malik squeezed her shoulder once more before they melted back into the house like they'd grown here. Riley sat for a beat, bottle sweating in her hand, listening to her own heartbeat settle into the bass. In the watcher's lounge again, the couch welcomed her like it remembered. She sank in, smiling without meaning to, and let her head tip back, the ceiling swimming in amber. Girl, Bria's voice materialized like a grin. You look fulfilled. Talia's laugh slid in from the side. Drained, even. Riley covered her mouth, couldn't help the giggle that escaped through her fingers. Shut up. She exhaled, shook her head, looked down at her knees like they belonged to someone braver, and then realized they belonged to her. I said yes. Talia bumped her shoulder. Look at you not staying on the couch this time. Bria flopped beside her, fanning Riley's face with a cocktail napkin. You're glowing. I hate you. Tell me everything. No, don't. Tell me later. No, tell me now. Riley leaned back, warmth buzzing low and slow. The old impulse to minimize, to joke, to run, flickered, and then went out. She let her smile be big, unhidden. It was easy, she said, surprised by her own word. Like my body knew the map before my mouth did. Talia hummed, pleased. Say that. Bria bumped her knee. And did you? Yes, Riley cut in, unable to help the laugh that broke across her face. Yes, loud. They cackled, then quieted as the room lifted another collective exhale. The house kept its secrets without hoarding them. Riley listened to the music, to the hush of velvet, to the murmur of pleasure in a language she'd finally let herself speak. She reached for Talia's hand and squeezed. Thank you for dragging me out. We didn't drag, Talia said, smug and sweet. We just opened the door. Riley nodded, eyes stinging a little, in a way she didn't have to hide. I walked through. The house breathed. Somewhere, somebody laughed. Somewhere else, somebody moaned like a prayer that had been answered. Riley smiled into the sound and let it answer something in her, too. By the time Riley made it back home, the sun was already flirting with the blinds, leaving thin streaks of light across her walls. She kicked off her heels, dropped her bag on the chair, and sat in the quiet for a moment. What struck her wasn't the wildness of the night, but the way she allowed herself to stop watching from the sidelines. For once, she gave herself permission to step into the current instead of just observing it. That wasn't about the sex or the thrill, it was about trust. Trusting her own body, her own yes, her own edge of curiosity. And as the stillness settled, she realized that freedom didn't come in loud declarations or complicated promises. It came in that choice to lean in instead of folding back. It came in the laughter, the sweat, the shared glances, and the way she surprised even herself by letting go. Riley knew she wasn't finished figuring herself out, but she was further along than yesterday, and that was enough. And until next time, that's another ink-stained confession. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share on your socials. See you next time.